It is easy to spend hours inhabiting a future where you've already won. You can almost feel the security of reaching the finish line. But the moment the visualization ends, you're still in the same chair, in the same room, having made no physical progress toward that world. Your brain uses these grand ambitions to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be, but it does so through a specific kind of deception. Unchecked dreaming often functions as a psychological camouflage. It provides the feeling of growth while masking a total lack of movement. Most of us know someone who is perpetually on the verge of a breakthrough, who constantly announces a new empire, a new habit, or a total life pivot. Yet, if you look at their actual calendar, their daily routine hasn't shifted in half a decade. This pattern points to a specific state, an addiction to potential. It's the preference for the idea of being a person who succeeds over the reality of the work required. Because this state feels like ambition, it is difficult to self-diagnose. You might be experiencing the high of a potential future right now, even as your present reality remains stagnant. To understand why the mind chooses the dream over the work, we have to look at the reward pathways that process our goals. When you imagine success, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical reward for an achievement that hasn't happened yet. The reward center struggles to distinguish between a real-world win and a vivid fantasy. To your neurons, both register the same. This unearned reward quiets the biological drive to execute. If the brain already feels it has won, the urgency to perform difficult tasks evaporates. You end up in a state of false satiation. You feel a sense of accomplishment that your physical environment hasn't earned. In this context, visualization isn't a spark for action. It's a shortcut to the reward that bypasses the need for action entirely. This internal misfire usually transitions into an external behavior, the permanent planning phase. You might find yourself researching for months or waiting for more information, convinced you're just one perfect moment away from starting. Excessive planning often serves as a defense mechanism. By staying in the research phase, you keep the fantasy perfect and avoid the messy, frustrating errors that come with real-world effort. We often wait to feel ready before we move. But in practice, readiness is a byproduct of movement. You don't act because you're ready. You become ready because you acted. If you wait for the feeling of readiness to arrive first, the goal is likely to remain a permanent resident of your imagination. Moving from the dream to the reality requires a shift in expectation. The dopamine high of the fantasy is the opposite of how progress actually feels. Real progress is repetitive. It's slow, often boring, and lacks any sense of cinematic scale. It is easy to feel inspired while talking about a 5-year plan. It is difficult to stay focused while performing the 10th hour of a monotonous, necessary task. Accepting this friction is how the cycle of inaction breaks. Success is found in the willingness to trade the perfect high of the dream for the uncomfortable reality of the work. You can interrupt the dopamine loop right now before you move on to the next piece of content. Identify one tiny, exceptionally boring action you can physically complete in the next 10 minutes. Something that moves the needle, however slightly. Put aside the 5-year roadmap and the grand speeches. Those are just more hits. Focus only on the single step in front of you. Commit to that one action publicly by writing it in the comments. Use it as a record of a real-world move. The choice is between the chemical comfort of the dream and the messy reality of the build. Decide which one you're actually after.